Does debt settlement or really any kind of debt relief destroy your credit? That's one of the biggest fears people have. And honestly, it stops a lot of people from getting the help they actually need. But here's a real question. What good is a high credit score if you're still drowning in debt? That's one of the topics we've been talking about in the previous videos, which we're going to link in the description box below, so you can dive in a little deeper on that topic. But in this video, we're going to break down what actually happens to your credit when most companies won't explain clearly, and why your score might not matter as much as you think, at least in the short term. First, let's acknowledge something. Your credit score matters, it's important, but it's not the only thing that matters, and sometimes focusing only on your score can actually keep you stuck in a worse financial situation. Yes, number one, your credit score can be impacted. Let's address this head on. If you enter any kind of debt relief program, whether it's settlement, restructuring, or even missing a payment due to hardship, your credit score can go down, especially in the short term. Why? Because your payment history and account status are major factors in your score. For example, if someone has a maxed out credit cards and starts struggling to make payments, their score is likely already under pressure. So it's not always the program causing the drop. Sometimes it's the situation that led them there in the first place. So number two, the bigger problem, being credit rich, but cash poor. This is where you need to shift perspective. You might have a decent credit score, but if your credit cards are maxed out, you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you're barely making minimum payments, that's not financial stability. That's what I like to call a Ferrari with no engine. It looks great on the outside. Your score might look okay, but it's not actually getting you anywhere. For example, someone has a 680 credit score, but they can't qualify for a meaningful loan. They can't lower their interest rates and can't breathe financially. So the question becomes, is the goal just to protect your score or to actually fix the financial situation behind it? If this is giving you a different perspective, make sure to like and subscribe. We talk about real financial strategies so you can make decisions with clarity, not fear. Number three, what actually happens during the process? So let's talk about this process, what it can look like. Let's say someone has $25,000 in credit card debt across multiple accounts. They've had a hardship, maybe a job loss, medical issues, or income changes, and the minimum payments just aren't sustainable anymore. At that point, something has to change. A structured approach may involve reworking terms based on hardship, adjusting payment structures, and focusing on creating something that's actually manageable. During that process, yes, your credit might take a temporary hit, but there's the key. It's not damage for no reason. It's part of addressing a situation that wasn't sustainable to begin with. So another point, credit scores can recover and often do. This is the part that a lot of people don't hear enough about. Credit scores are not permanent. They're dynamic. They change based on your use of it. For example, when someone resolves their debt situation and starts rebuilding, lower balances, on-time payments, moving forward, reduced financial stress. Those are all positive signals to the credit bureaus, and over time, scores can improve. We've seen people go from struggling and overwhelmed to being in a position where they can actually start rebuilding their financial foundation. But that only happens when the underlying problem gets addressed. Number five, the real risk. Doing absolutely nothing. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. The biggest risk isn't always taking action, it's doing nothing. Because someone stays in a cycle where debt keeps growing, interest keeps stacking, minimum payments barely move the balance, their financial situation can get worse over time. In many cases, their credit will suffer regardless. So the real question isn't, will this impact my credit? It's, what happens if I don't change anything? So let's bring it all together. Does debt settlement or restructuring impact your credit? It can in the short term, but does it destroy your credit forever? No. Your credit score is a tool, not your identity. And sometimes taking a temporary step back is what allows you to move forward in a much stronger position. If you're in a situation where debt feels overwhelming, especially if your credit cards are maxed out and the payments just aren't sustainable, you're not alone. And more importantly, you do have options. If you want help understanding what options look like for your specific situation, you can get connected with our team. Just click the link below, and debt specialists will walk through everything with you and will help figure out what actually makes sense. Thanks for watching, and remember, a number doesn't define your future, your strategy does. Freedom starts here. We'll see you in the next video.